All right, guys, welcome in. It is Friday. It's time for Total Bases. We made it to the end of the week. Off camera here, we were chatting about kids these days. TB, remember, it's Friday night in Tokyo, so TB is pouring himself a celebratory drink. I feel like you've been hitting KBO games left and right this week, so has to be going good for you. I know you've been way on the top of that 30-day leaderboard for most of the week, so a well-deserved fireball shot for you right there, as well as Bryan, Leonard, myself. I think we're all running good, but what we were talking about off camera is the kids these days. Not very tough across the board, not a lot of toughness. They quit easily. I have a niece and nephew, so I see younger kids, and I can see that. And I guess how will I segue this into baseball? Well, we're at that time of year, Bryan, where it's you got to pick yourself back off the mat. You've had teams that have maybe struggled through the month of August. We're 3 weeks away from the end of the season. Teams not playing as good as they were early in the year that are going to have to really dig deep and find it if they don't want to lose their spot. And one of those teams is going to be our feature game today. It's the Toronto Blue Jays. I did some research on the Blue Jays. This team, I think it was July. I wish I actually wrote this down. Probably, when I find good facts, I should probably write them down. I want to say it goes back to about July 1st. This team has a bullpen ERA over 6, and they're playing 500 baseball, which is not what they were in May and June to get to 81-59 on the year. Yankees win again last night. We're in the Bronx this weekend, and they only have a 3-game lead. Yankees, Blue Jays, what a big series. I feel like the Blue Jays need to dig deep here, or by the end of this weekend, they might not have that lead in the division anymore. So let's start there. Blue Jays, Yankees. Thoughts on the magnitude of this series, and then also what do you think tonight?
Yeah. What goes up has to come down eventually, and that's the way the Toronto Blue Jays have been. And we find another game today, San Francisco, the same way. They were nothing, and then they were great. And what do you believe? So, truly, this is a huge series for both these teams. Gaussman against Schlittler. Yep. Make sure I don't pronounce that wrong. Schlittler's about a 130 favorite. Totals 8.5 to the over or 9 slightly to the under. I was thinking the same thing today. I said, no, that's a great series. Well, this is the game. If you ask me, this is the game that Toronto needs to have, because you got Gaussman, who's been around forever. He's been in playoff situations, and he should know how to pitch during the playoff run, while the opposing pitcher for the Yankees is a rookie. I think that's a pretty big advantage here. So you have to look past the actual numbers in this game in which to do some handicapping. Gaussman, 3.75 ERA, 3.75 exactly on as expected, 1.05 whip. His does give up some fly balls, 18th ground ball rate, but he's no longer an elite pitcher, but he is very good. In fact, if you look at his career, he's never really been the elite pitcher. He's got a 3.83 ERA, but 1.24 whip, but he's a guy that everybody can count on. He gives you a lot of innings. He doesn't miss starts. In the last 3 years, all 31, and 27 starts. You're going to get 30 starts out of him every year. That's what you want. And he's going up against the young guy from the Yankees, the right-hander. It's 24 years old, 2.61 ERA, but 3.59 expected. So a little bit of luck in his past, 1.24 whip. His barrel rate, hard hit rate, ground ball rate, and extension are all basically league average. What he has been doing is very good at. He's got a great fastball, 94th percentile, throws it 57% of the time at 97.9 miles per hour. As much as I like him because of his throwing of the fastball, he does throw 4 other pitches, but really his cutter at 20% is the next he throws more. So he's going to throw a lot of fastballs against what I consider a pretty veteran lineup here in Toronto, and some of their better hitters are veteran hitters. So I think Toronto's going to have some success here. And you're looking at them as an underdog. That's the way I would play this one. I was on the Yankees team total yesterday, and they worked out very well for me. But this is a game that I think if you throw away the stats a little bit, you can find that there's pretty good value here, at least in my opinion, on Toronto as an underdog.
Guys, I have a 5% play out today in Major League Baseball. I'm sure these guys are going to put something up as well if they haven't already. Free play is also up, so go to wagertalk.com and see what we have available. So is today the day to take a Schlitt? Well, if you look at Schlittler, cover the name. I got Adam to laugh. Cover the name and take a look at his last 5-6 starts. How many innings has he gone and how many earned runs? 5 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings, 6, 6, 6. So he's gone at least 5 innings in his last starts. He has not given up more than 2 earned in any of those starts. As a matter of fact, he's only given up 6 earned runs in his last 6 starts, and he's gone 5+ innings in all of them. And I like the Yankees bullpen better. I like the Yankees here. And if you look at Kevin Gausman's numbers against the Yankees, they're not very good. He's got a 272 average against and an 896 OPS against. Aaron Judge is 16 of 45 against him for a 356 average and a 1322 OPS. So Aaron Judge has been very hot and cold since coming back from injury. But before going hitless in his last game, he had a 4-game hit streak. So Aaron Judge's hits, runs, RBIs would be a way to go if you don't want to take the Yankees as favorites today. So I would go either one of those.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game to watch. Not sure if it's one I will bet. So I was quickly trying to figure out where I had those numbers. I believe it's since the All-Star break. Toronto's been roughly a 500 team. Bullpen ERA is 5.60, 5.60. It is the worst mark in the American League. And the only team worse in Major League Baseball since is the Colorado Rockies, who have a 6.18 bullpen ERA in that span. Very, very concerning to me for a couple of reasons. One, you're on the road here, Yankee Stadium, playoff atmosphere, Friday night. If it is close late, that's typically, where they find a way, if you will. It seems like they do in these types of games when it gets to September and October. So that's a concern. Bullpen hasn't been very good. The other thing that's concerning to me, I look at these two teams that are now very close in the standings. Yankees run differential 143, Blue Jays plus 62. That is is that the best mark in the league right now? A 143 run differential?
Brewers 162.
Okay. So I believe it's the best mark in the American League.
It is.
But yes, it's one of, that's striking that it is that they're that far apart. And that, I think that speaks to how poor the Blue Jays bullpen has become, which is it's very relevant here because in May and June, that Jays bullpen was the reason they were winning a lot of these games. Hoffman was in good form. What really it has killed him is the Yimi Garcia injury. Garcia's been out since July 2nd, and it's basically the dip in performance in that bullpen has pretty much coincided with the Garcia injury, and they've essentially been a 500 team since. So I'm really having a hard time kind of getting the window with the Blue Jays at this point for that reason. Now, do I want to lay $1.30 with the Yankees? Probably not. Feels a little bit inflated, especially after, they win last night. It wasn't a close game, but the king of pettiness, Aaron Boone, the Boone family, you won't find a more petty baseball family than the Boones, had to go out and ask have them inspect Taylor Trammell's bat, which is just like peak Aaron Boone, peak Yankees right there. So it was an emotional series. It was down in Houston. They take 2 of 3. Now they have to come home. This is a tough one. I don't really have a great lean here. I know I saw some people in the chat talking about the total. I guess if you could get an 8.5, I could see some runs. I do like Schlittler, though. And I will remind everyone that we are only 60 days away from college basketball. I felt like I would throw that in there. Cam Schlittler, Northeastern Huskies. So we are almost back. College hoops. Bunch of random shit. I don't really have a play. So I wish I had more. It's going to be a great game to watch, and I'll certainly have an eye on the series. I'm going to go into this series, though, the same way I went into the Astros series. My gut says the Yankees can make up ground this weekend. I don't know how, but I said that prior to the Astros series, and the Yanks took 2 of 3. I kind of feel the same way here. So maybe a series bet, but nothing super strong in this one for me. Okay, let's go to the chat. There's 15 games today, and we have a day game. Let's go to the day game, just because I know people are going to want to hear about it, even though it's not the most thrilling game on the card. It's still day baseball. It stands alone, and I know people will ask. So, Bryan, Leonard, we have the Cubbies, as they usually do when they play home on Friday, gracing us with some day baseball. They take on the lowly Washington Nationals, and I'm looking for a line. Okay, big favorite as expected. Cubs over a $2 favorite at home. Nats, you could get plus 1.5 with them on the road, about even money, minus 105. Do you have a play Cubs Nats?
You had mentioned college basketball, so I'll mention the NFL. 41 points in the first half, and the game doesn't go over.
Brutal.
It's already NFL season, the first game,
Yeah.
and it's already happening. All right. The reason I mentioned football is I just put up a college football free play up on the site for today. It's also going to be one of the plays I give my clients. So make sure to check that out. Check out all our free plays today. See, Brandon, I can talk about.
That was a
this kind of
smooth
stuff
promo. Smooth promo right there.
All right, let's go to Washington and the Chicago Cubs here. Irvin against Assad. Assad basically about a 220 favorite at this point. Total 10.5, slightly to the under, or 10 to the over, which tells you that the wind's probably blowing out a little bit in Chicago, and we got 2 pretty lousy pitchers here. But let me check a look here. Chicago Cubs Wrigley Field is blowing to right field and out a little bit. It's only giving us a 2% more than the league average, or for here normal on their scoring. So I guess it's not blowing out that much, but it's something to take a look at. The high totals because of the pitchers on the mound, and Jake Irvin going for Washington. 5.42 ERA, 5.64 expected. Not the kind of year he was expecting here. He lost 14 games last year, and he won't get a chance to lose that this year because he's only lost 10, but he's having a worse year this season. His whip is 1.41. Great extension. Very good ground ball rate. Everything else pretty much lousy. He doesn't walk too many people, 7.9% on the season, which is a little bit less than league average, but expected ERA, 6th percentile. Whiff rate, 5th. Strikeout rate, 6th. Barrel rate, 4th. Hard hit, 7th. He's not somebody I'm looking to back. But, Javier Assad, is he really somebody you want to lay $2 with? He's freshly back to the rotation. Comes in, this will only be his 5th start of the season. 4.05 ERA, 5.53 expected, 1.35 whip. He's only thrown 20 innings, so not a lot has been qualified other than his fastball velocity was in the 19th percentile. Extension 55th percentile. He throws a lot of different pitches. 7 different pitches. You find a lot of the Asian players that have really good repertoires. So you just take a look at some of the other ones that are in Major League Baseball, and Yu Darvish is a leader of that. He seems to have a new pitch every time I see him throw, and Assad's that way. He's got a lot of different looks for you, and it works out well for these Asian pitchers when they come to the United States, because just like in real life, Americans do not have any patience. They get up there and want to swing at the first pitch and swing as hard as they can. That's just the way this entire country is. So that's why they have a lot of success here. I don't want to trust Assad in this game, but I want nothing to do with Irvin. So the next thing I think that makes some sense is the team totals. And you're getting the Cubs at home today at 5.5, minus 130 on the over. 6 runs is a lot, especially in Chicago, with the winds not completely blowing out, but I don't want anything to do with that. Slight lean here with the team total for the Cubs.
Yeah, I got a 5% play out, guys. Go grab it. And regarding this game, Yeah, Irvin's a bad pitcher. He's a bad pitcher. In his last 4 starts, he's given up 19 earned runs. And against the Cubs, he's even worse. He's got a 800 plus OPS against him in his career. Not a lot to hang your hopes on for Irvin. And he's on the road, worse on the road. Let's take a look at the Cubs. The Cubs lineup is top 10, but their bullpen also top 10, pretty good. One thing a little bit of caution here. The Washington bullpen is playing lights out right now. I have no idea why. They haven't been good almost all year, but right now I've got them ranked number 2 in MLB in current form. So I also agree with Bryan, given the fact that Irvin's been so horrible. And the Cubs are, even though the Cubs are in a little bit of a lull right now, they're still hitting all right. I would lean to a Cubs team total over, but the fact that the Washington's bullpen is playing so good right now, maybe a first 5 over for the Cubs, perhaps. Maybe it's 2.5 in the first 5. I'd be more comfortable with that, given how well Washington's bullpen is playing.
Yeah, Bryan, do we have a weather report for Wrigley today? Any idea where that wind is going? Because
Yeah,
I feel like
about
it's important.
It's going towards right field a little bit. Let me check the.
Sorry
actual-
about that. I'm looking up stats and I zoned out. If you said it, I apologize for missing that. I mean, to be honest with you, as long as it's not blowing in, I think you could look at an over here, especially if you can find one of those like sort of it's going to be juiced a little bit, but if you can find an affordable over 10, couple reasons why I think this one probably has some runs. Irvin, yeah, it's just gone in the wrong direction. If I remember correctly, he got off to like a semi-respectable start to the year, and it's just been very, very steep downhill since about early to mid-May for Jake Irvin, who now, when you pull up the StatCast page, is basically the bottom 5% of like Major League Baseball starters across the board. Pitching run value is one of the worst. It's as bad of a mark as you could have. No whiff rate, doesn't strike anyone out. How are you getting out of Wrigley Field unscathed with those types of metrics? You're probably not. Cubs are going to probably score their runs. That being said, like Javier Assad, I like the way he mixes up, and Bryan pointed out like tons of pitches. Guy has 8 different pitches. I remember when he was coming up through the minors, and that was the big selling point. So this was like a couple of years ago, probably 4 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He's coming up through the Cubs system, and all of a sudden I remember he got to like Iowa, and the Cubs have this guy, and it's like he throws 7 different pitches, and it was like an exciting thing for a while. And then he got to the big league level. And basically what big leaguers do is just pick the one they want to hit. And if it's not really good, it's going to go a long way. Right now, credit to him. He's been able, I think he's 28 years old now. He's made himself a nice little career by kind of, always being able to mix it up. But it's not like he's a guy to me that profiles as more of like an innings eater at AAA. And then he's going to come up. He'll compete for you, but he's not like a top-notch MLB type starter. Pulled up his August numbers, which was split between Iowa and the Cubs. Batters hitting about 290 against him, and that's with pretty good numbers. So it's like, does he hold down a Nats lineup that's pretty good at hitting right-handed pitching? Probably not. So for me, over the course of 9 innings, Tokyo Brandon pointed out the Nationals bullpen doing well of late. That's very small sample size related, in my opinion. This has been, I don't think there's been a worse bullpen this year. Like if you were just to look over the course of the season, and the reason it's important to note that it's a lot of the same guys. It's not like the Nationals just have a whole bunch of different arms up there now that would make them like better. I think they've just been on a good stretch. Everyone's going to have a little bit of a good stretch at some point, but this is a bad bullpen. Cubbies have had bullpen issues. I mean, they don't have a ton of depth. I see they're signing guys who I know they picked up Aaron Savali. They had another one, which was a name that they grabbed Austin Gomber from the Rockies. I mean,
yes.
Let's just see what happens, right? Like, see if we can catch lightning in a bottle somewhere. So Yeah, as long as the wind's not blowing in, I think this one's going over. 11,
Yes,
12 runs.
It's actually
Go ahead.
18 miles an hour, which is a lot of wind, but it's more going left to right than it is from home plate to the outfield.
All right.
So even though it will have a major effect on fly balls and pop-ups, no doubt about it. And we've seen that all year long. Those are hard to judge. So, yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think the Cubs will get to that 6.
Left to right. I'll give you a rare prop. I think PCA puts one into the next county in this game at some point. There's my rare trig prop. I don't know what you want to do with that. But
talking about people that are struggling lately, the last month he's been terrible.
Yep,
but he's still a great.
He's been terrible.
Player.
He needs something good to happen. Irvin is a manageable matchup for him. I feel like he leans on one, and if he gets it up going out to right field, he puts one off the scoreboard today. So let's get Pete Crow Armstrong going right here on this show. Little Pete Crow Armstrong sprinkle. You probably get discount on his props because he's been so bad of late. So who knows? Colin Gregory says, "This is interesting. How did I miss this? Thoughts on Rays Guardians? Is Griffin Jax opening today? Is that correct?
Yes, he is.
Look at the Rays. The Rays. You know what? This is why I go back to the conversation yesterday. And I don't even bat an eye on the fact that Taj Bradley's never prepared for a start. Because if the Rays are going to do something, you know they have good reason for it. So Griffin Jax, been an elite reliever his whole career. Let's throw him in as an opener ahead of Ian Seymour, who I love. So Bryan Leonard, was the Guardians season, did it find it? Tokyo Brandon called that Rays game nicely yesterday. Rays get the win. Is this it for the Guardians? Is this finally where they bow out? And do you like the Rays in this spot?
No, I can't put anything past Cleveland. They continue to play pretty well, and they fell behind early in that game and tried to come back a little bit. Cleveland in this game against Tampa, it's Williams against Jax, and the line right now is Tampa Bay about it in the 140 range, 138, something like that. You can get as low as 121 if you're in Vegas at the Superbook, but 8 to the under is on the 8, basically 8 even, I think is the total in this game. But Jax, if you remember, just a couple of years ago, going into, I believe it was last year, they thought about using Jax and stretching him out, and he had such a good year, they decided not to do that. Well, he hasn't had such a good year this year. When you take a look at his actual numbers, they're much better than what his numbers say. Just a moment. Let me get to that game here. Okay. Jax has had great actual numbers. If you take a look at his StatCast page, 100th percentile chase rate, 98th percentile whiff rate, 98th percentile strikeout rate, 86% fastball velocity. This is the one thing that's getting him this year is the hard hit rate. He's in the 14th percentile. But if that's the only thing you've got that's worse than league average, there's no way he should come in here with a 4.98 ERA. His expected ERA is 3.18. So you've got a guy who's pitching much better than what the general public would think about him, and you're giving him a chance to start. I haven't read anything on it. He may just go 1 inning. He may go 2 innings. But because of his opinions in the past about starting, it would not surprise me now that Tampa Bay is out of the playoff picture if they don't try to stretch him out a little bit. What's it going to hurt? They don't have to worry about it the rest of the year, and then maybe next year they got another guy they can count on because they have had some players get injured. So I like the situation here. I love Jax. Don't think he's going to go very far, and that is my concern. Cleveland, on the other hand, Williams, other than that one start, if I'm correct, where he tried to go for the no-hitter and went 126, 127 pitches, and the next game we faded him. Overall, since then, he's been very good, and he's got a 3.26 ERA, 4.36, so he's been a little bit lucky in that regard, 1.29 whip. His walk rate is in the 6th percentile, chase rate 22nd, and average exit velocity 27th. That's not good. His extension in the 90th percentile, fastball velocity 84th, ground ball rate 70th. That is good for this ballpark in Tampa. It's a minor league ballpark. Throws 5 pitches. His four-seamer the most, 39%, and he does it at 96.6 miles an hour. Williams is pitching really well, but I kind of like the way Tampa Bay is setting this game up. And even though Cleveland has had some good hitting days, if you look at them, they're still the last 14 days in WRC plus. I kind of like the under here. I think there might be slight value on Cleveland as a dog, but I probably won't get involved.
Are the Rays out of the playoffs? Last time I checked, they're 2 games out of the wild card. So
2 games
I mean,
back.
they still have, I guess we could call it false hope, but I mean, or clinging to scraps of hope, I guess you could say.
9.6% according to ESPN.
Yeah, I don't buy that though, because 2 games out with a month left in the season. I mean,
Well, they don't have a month. They're down to 3 weeks now. They played 140 games. They got 22 games to go.
Well, TB, they also did just beat the absolute breaks off the team they're chasing. I think that helps, but continue.
Yeah. And you can make up 2 games in 2 days. So if they've got 3 weeks left, that's ample opportunity. But yeah, I mean, the Rays are one of the few teams, according to my rankings, that are top 10 in bullpen and hitting at the same time right now. They're playing really well, actually. The bullpen, I got them ranked 6 out of 30 in current form. And if Jax is going to be the opener, it means they're going to rely heavily on their bullpen today, I imagine. And that's not a bad bullpen to rely on. No? Is someone going to go long relief?
I think it's going to be a pretty standard start for Ian Seymour after Jax.
I see.
I think Seymour will throw most of the innings.
Okay.
Both. Yeah.
Well, I don't have a big read on him, so I'll leave that to Adam. But I mean, Cleveland, they rank 26th out of 30 in current form in hitting, and their bullpen ranks 20, according to my numbers. I wouldn't rely on. I agree with Bryan that Gavin Williams is pitching well lately. And on the road, he's actually not that bad, but in 28 bats against versus these batters, 286 average against and a 962 OPS against. So if anything, I'd go Tampa, but since Seymour is a little bit of a wild card for me, I will lay off of it. But I mean, Tampa's playing really good right now. Hard to bet against them. I don't know if I'll bet for them though.
Yeah, I really like the Rays here. I do think they're the type of team that could pull this off. If someone was going to get in the mix and it's just, and the reason I say that is because they're well prepared. They're always well managed. They kind of like are able to do more with less, and I just feel like they manufacture runs. It's not whereas you look at a team like the Guardians, they not a great lineup. I think they do some of these same things, and they have to hang around. But I don't know, there's just another gear to the Rays, in my opinion, that these other teams that are chasing, which has really become the Mariners at this point, these other teams that are chasing them just don't have. You've seen the Royals kind of scuffle this week, and the Guardians, I know we kind of joke, how are they still in it? But I don't think they have the offense to do it. The Rays are a mix of they've got just enough hitting. They have enough pitching. The bullpen's really good. And then you're sitting on a guy like Ian Seymour, who was kind of given the Bubba Chandler type treatment, Braxton Ashcraft, where he was always a starter in the minors. And for whatever reason, I don't even think they meant to. You go back to when he was called up, the Rays got into an extra inning game with the Red Sox, and they needed a pitcher. And Seymour was there, and he was the only guy available. He comes in the 10th inning at Fenway Park, gets out of the game, wins the game for the Rays. And I think they maybe said, can we use this guy out of the bullpen? Because we do we want to send him back to Durham? Not really. Do we have a legitimate spot in our rotation? Not really. So I think they kind of were just well, let's see what he can do out of the bullpen. And it gave him time to get acclimated to the big leagues. And then this month they were no, we got to get this guy in our rotation. He's really good. He's a lefty. I think I saw something on Twitter. Until Ian Seymour started last time out, they hadn't started a left-handed pitcher all year. I don't know if that was something that was by design. The only other team that hasn't started a left-handed starting pitcher this year is the Mariners, and those are 2 organizations that I think know what they're doing with pitching. So maybe there's something to that. But the point is, 2 starts ago against Cleveland, I believe was his first MLB start, and he pitched really good. 5 shutout innings, 1 hit. Last time out was a start against Washington. Another 5 innings, gave up some runs, but it was a couple errors behind him in that game. Only 1 was earned. So far in August, and this is 2 starts, the rest were relief appearances, a 190 batting average against, 1.01 whip. I watched him pitch at Durham for a year and a half. Was one of the best starters before he got called up. I had him rated in that same group with Chandler, Nolan McLean. Like I do my minor league AAA pitcher ratings, and he rated out the same as Bubba Chandler, Nolan McLean, Ian Seymour. It was like those were the guys that were in like that group when I rate out starting pitching. So I almost think that you're getting a discount on Seymour here because look at what McLean has done. Chandler, I think, once he's allowed to go, is gonna kind of do that same thing. Jonah Tong is a guy that I had rated similar to those guys as well. So I'm very high on Seymour. I don't know why you're gonna burn Griffin Jax in the first inning, but it's the Rays. I don't argue when the Rays do stuff like this. They must like the matchup against Ramirez and whoever else is at the top of that Guardians order. So you'll probably get 1 inning from Jax, 5 from Seymour, and then you take your chances with the Rays bullpen. I could get down with that. So I'll lean Rays. I don't know if it will be my parlay leg, but I like where where this team is heading right now, and I think I can only play the Rays here. Go ahead, Bryan.
I do want to point out, you talked earlier about the Yankees and their total runs above normal. Tampa Bay is at, 62 or 63, which is Toronto's at 62, and they're 10 games behind them in the playoff race. So it's still a quality team. They've been very good all year, and they've had a lot of their guys injured. If you're looking for a future in the American League, I don't know what's going to happen with free agency, but Tampa Bay is setting themselves up next year to be really good, and they may be a team that we can get some pretty good futures money on.
Yeah. And what about a guy like Joe Boyle's chilling at Durham. He threw a great game again the other day. Like they're kind of sitting on some guys that could even still help them this year. So they are an interesting team, and I like that, Bryan. If not this year, if they can't squeak in this year, they might be the team to look at next year because you'll have Jack still probably going to have a really nice bullpen.
With their number 1 back in the lineup.
Carson Williams probably on the big league club. Some of these, prospect guys coming through. That's a great point. Great point right there. All right, let's get back to the chat here. I see Sean here. Is Flaherty pitching today? Is that what we got to talk about that if he is?
Yep.
All right, let's go to that game. I see Sean talking about Flaherty K's. To his credit, I feel like he's kind of been right about Jack Flaherty. I certainly wasn't. I didn't think he was going to be very good this year, and Flaherty has been pretty good. Hey, we both TB. I think you said White Sox team total over yesterday. That soared.
Yep.
I won my best bet for beautiful.
Yeah.
My best bet for the show was Twins White Sox over as expected. A total free for all. Cannon bullpens 19 runs easy if you chose to ride with that one. Now the White Sox hit the road. They're heading to the Motor City. It looks like Shane Smith, Jack Flaherty will go to Bryan Leonard to start us off.
Yeah, I think overall yesterday we were pretty right on most of the games, although we disagreed on a couple. I cost us the parlay. I had the underdog Angels there.
3-0 lead, too. 3-0 lead for the Angels, too. That was tough.
Yeah.
I had the Royals.
It's baseball, and you play an underdog. Anytime you play an underdog, if you win 50% of the time is positive. So, it's when you play an underdog, they're not going to win as often as favorites, obviously. Okay, we've got Smith going for the White Sox, Flaherty going for Detroit. Flaherty about a 185, 187 favorite overall. Total is 8.5, slightly to the under. Smith back for the White Sox. Shane Smith comes in. 24 starts on the season. He's piled up 120 innings. Good for him. 3.81 ERA, 4.27 expected, 1.20 whip. Very bad in hard hit percentage, 8th percentile, chase rate 9th, average exit velocity 20th. But he is pretty good in extension, 77th, barrel rate 71, whiff 70, fastball velocity 68. You rarely see somebody with a barrel rate in the 71st percentile, and yet a hard hit rate in the 8th. So there's got to be something in the middle there. He only throws the 5 pitches. His four-seamer 44% of the time. Not liking guys who are not dominant on that four-seamer. Jack Flaherty, if you take a look at his numbers, 4.71 ERA, 1.29 WHIP, you don't think he's very good, but his expected ERA is 4.07. He has 169 strikeouts in only 142 in the third innings. Yes, when he gets hit, he does get hit hard. Barrel rate 9th percentile, hard hit rate 20th. He's also a fly ball pitcher, but he doesn't have to be concerned very much in this ballpark with that. But his strikeout percentage, 85th percentile, whiff rate 73rd, chase rate 72nd. Still a very good pitcher in his 9th season, 3.80 career ERA. Throws his four-seamer 47% of the time, but it's only 92.9 miles an hour. So he does keep him a little bit off balance with that. He's got that ability as a veteran. I gotta love seeing that. But I don't know if I'm going to get here with Detroit. I think that's probably the right side here, but I just don't like to lay these big numbers, so I'll be sitting this one out.
Yeah. This one's a tough one for me. I've got Smith ranked slightly higher than Flaherty. Flaherty's got a 4+ ERA at home. Not terrible in today's standards, but 4+, not the best. He's a pretty average pitcher, in my opinion. Smith got him ranked a little bit higher. He's a pretty average pitcher as well. The big discrepancy I see here is in the bullpen. Detroit's bullpen is much better than the White Sox bullpen, and they're playing better right now. Hitting wise, I got the White Sox ranked 10 and I got the Tigers ranked 16. So it's just kind of a back and forth. Don't know how to do it. Obviously, Detroit is a better team. Anyone can look at their record and see that, but they're not playing that much better. I mean, they're an 81 win team. It's really hard to take a 53 win team against an 81 win team on the road. So I'm not going to do it. But I do think the White Sox are hitting better, but I think Detroit has the better bullpen. So I'm kind of stalemated on this one.
Yeah, I think you have to understand that it's the Detroit Mud Hens for the next 3 weeks. And I don't say that in a negative way. I mean, and this is what a psychopath AJ Hinch is. AJ Hinch is having a 3-week tryout, and he's already putting together that first playoff series. I truly believe this. The guy is an absolute nutcase. And I think he has no clue who his 28 guys are going to be, with the exception, I mean, the couple of the starting position players, and obviously your Skubal and Flaherty will be on the postseason roster and whatnot. But when you get outside of like maybe 6 of their starting position players and like 2 or 3, maybe like 2 or 3 starting pitchers and a couple of bullpen guys, I don't think the Tigers have any clue who they're taking to the postseason. And that is that's a positive. It's because they have a lot of players that could make a case. And I truly think that the next 3 weeks, he's just going to be rotating guys out, calling guys up from the 40-man, giving everyone a shot. So from a game-to-game basis, I mean, this is a team that's 9.5. They have a 9.5 game lead in their division. They are chilling. They're going to win their division. They're going to the playoffs. No problem with that. It's just going to be talent evaluation for the Tigers for the next 3 weeks. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you probably shouldn't be a $2 favorite if that's how it's going to go. So in a series like this, where White Sox are playing good ball. What do they won? 4 straight. They just swept the Twins. May even have another one. I think, do we have 4 straight wins for the White Sox? 5 straight wins. I forgot they won that game against the Yankees. So, I mean, they're a young team. Venable's doing the same thing, but it's on the other end of the spectrum. So Venable's doing the same thing, evaluating talent for next year, but he's got all these young guys, a lot of upside, good pitching that they've developed at the lower levels that he's just kind of putting out there. You don't want to lay $2 against this White Sox team right now because they're playing with nothing to lose. There's zero expectations, and they're dangerous. These young Colson Montgomery, Kyle Teel, I'm just going off the top of my head. I can't tell you who's. I think Medrath had 4 hits the other day. So it's like they've got a lot of prospects. They're playing good. Young pitchers like Grant Taylor, They just called another guy up that I liked recently. That's again, they're not really baked into the number. So I don't want to lay $2 here with Detroit, but it's like it has to be White Sox or pass for that reason. You can get White Sox plus 120, plus 1.5, minus 125. Like, that's not a bad bet. If Detroit wins, good chance they win a close game. So again, I just don't think you can lay $2 with the Tigers with what the mindset is in that organization right now. Okay. Bad rest spot for them in the pitcher's part. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point that Jake makes. Like, White Sox had to play yesterday. It was a rain delay. Now they have to travel. But again, you got a bunch of young kids. I don't think they care. I don't think that's going to affect the team like the White Sox right now. I just think they're happy to be playing ball.
They'll sleep in a little. It'll be fine.
Kyle says Kyle says Kyle Finnegan got hurt. That's interesting.
Yes.
That's one big arm down for for them. So he's saying probably no Finnegan in this series. And yeah, and the Tigers don't really care. They're going to give other guys looks. I saw Rafael Montero in for them yesterday. I mean, it's a tryout. AJ Hinch is figuring out how he's going to beat the Yankees or the Astros or whoever he has to play in the first round, and he probably will, because that's how good AJ Hinch is. Best coach. You can count on one hand the best coaches in the game. He's always going to be on that hand. Let's put it that way. All right, let's continue on. Okay, let's see. I want to talk about this one because a couple people were saying Braves money line. So going back to that American League playoff picture, Bryan, is this you think the Mariners would maybe bounce back a little bit, but they're still on the East Coast. Is this a tricky spot for them in Atlanta? I mean, they are not playing good ball right now. I don't know what your thoughts are on the Mariners, but as someone that has some season-long Mariners futures that really needs them to get in the playoffs, I'm a little nervous here after that performance in Tampa, and now they stay on the East Coast to play Atlanta. It looks like Gilbert against Chris Sale. Anything for you, Mariners Braves?
Yeah, they've lost 3 straight, 4-6 the last 10, according to ESPN. They've still got a 75.6% to make the playoffs. But Gilbert, I believe it was 2 starts ago, he got blown up. And obviously, we saw a big blow up from him from another ace. They've got some concerns in that starting rotation. Right when they get Bryce Miller back, everybody else gets hurt. Logan Gilbert here and the Mariners come in here. Sale, he looked pretty good coming right back. They had time to wait for him. Obviously, we've talked about this week where guys come back and you don't have to throw them right back in because they're not going to go to the playoffs. But Sale, the lefties, the favorite here. He's about a 138 favorite, total of 7.5, which is a pretty low number in a pretty good hitter's ballpark here in Atlanta. And the total 7.5, as I said. We are getting Logan Gilbert, 3.73 ERA, 2.93 expected ERA. 2 years ago, he had an expected ERA of 3.66, and he won 13 games. This year, he's got a 2.93 expected ERA, and he's only won 4 so far. Now, there's been injuries, but he's also not getting much support offensively from his team when he pitches. Average exit velocity in the 13th percentile, hard hit rate in the 28th, barrel 39. That's usually not Gilbert, but that's his numbers for this year. And granted, he's pitched a little bit hurt this year, but he's still a great pitcher. His extension, 100 percentile, strikeout rate, 97th, whiff, 94th. He's just a terrific pitcher. Does throw his 4-seamer and his slider, both 36% of the time. He's got 5 pitches overall, but basically he throws the splitter with that, and that's what he goes with. But he's been very good. Chris Sale, been around. This is his 15th season. He's won 143 games in Major League Baseball. This year, 2.45 ERA, 2.88 expected, 1.13 whip. Everything on his page is basically in the better part of the red, except for ground ball rate, 43rd percentile. That's close to league average. It's not a big concern. A hard hit rate, 93rd, strikeout rate, 93rd, chase, 93rd, average exit velocity, 94th. Great pitcher when he's healthy. And after last time he was out, he looked pretty healthy. Also does not throw many pitches. He basically throws his slider and his 4-seamer 90% of the time. And if you got as good pitches as these guys do, then you don't have to have that many pitches. Does Seattle got to win this game? You would think that they don't have to win it, obviously, with the 75% chance of still making the playoffs, but they got to turn this around sometime. And but I don't know if I want to back them, because Atlanta, even though they've been out of the playoffs for a long time, they still come out and play pretty well, give it all they've got. So I'm going to pass on the game, and hopefully both these pitchers make it through, pitch well, and don't get hurt again.
Yeah, guys, go to wagertalk.com and see what we got. I got a 5% play out today. I'm sure these guys are going to put something out as well. Free plays galore. Go to wagertalk.com and click free plays. I'm starting to slur my words. Maybe I've had a little too much juice on the side.
It's Friday night for you. It's Friday night for you.
A little too much juice on the side. You know what I mean? So here's an interesting stat about Chris Sale. In his last 6 starts, he has not given up more than 1 earned run. And he's gone 5 or more innings in every single one. Here's another interesting stat about Chris Sale. Against these batters that he is facing today, he has a 450 OPS against in a lot of at-bats. So none of these batters for Seattle has been able to hit him throughout his career. Granted, he's not the same Chris Sale he was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but he's still pretty dominant. He's pretty darn good still. 36 years old, not at his peak, but still, he's pitching well. Given those 2 stats, I like Seattle's team total under, but the bullpen for Atlanta has been just awful. I got them ranked 25th out of 30 in current form. So first 5 innings, team total under 1.5 for Atlanta seems like a good play, or I'm sorry, for Seattle seems like a good play for me. I know 1.5 in the first 5 is kind of dicey in Major League Baseball because a bloop and a blast, boom, your bet's done. But a small play on it would be good. Not a huge 5% or something, but yeah, a small play on that I think is a good bet.
I kind of think the books got this one right where they priced the total. So when I saw Sale versus Gilbert, I was like, oh, are they going to throw an over 7 up there? Because they like to do that sometimes when you have like 2 quote unquote aces, in which case I would have liked the over. I still sort of lean toward the over. I see Travis Helm kind of leans toward the over. I'll explain why. So Sale's very good. TB, everything you said is accurate about Sale. I know you're kind of going back to June for some of his MLB starts, but he was very strong in his rehab at Gwinnett. Made 3 starts, didn't give up more than a run at any of those. Looked really good last time out. So I think you'll get vintage Sale here to an extent. Where you can potentially get him would be hitting the ball at the ballpark. Because he doesn't have like this crazy pitch mix, he will give up some fly ball. And the Mariners, it's what they do well. I think I did a video the last time the Mariners faced a fly ball pitcher a few games ago, and they had three homers by the 5th inning. So I think that's the Mariners' maybe path to scoring some runs off Sale would be time one up and hit it out of the park. And then you do have opportunity to score off the Braves bullpen. I'm still concerned with Gilbert. I know I kind of came out after I backed Gilbert against the Phillies. He got crushed. I said, I think he's hurt and he's pitching through it. Bryan mentioned that he has been pitching hurt a little bit this year. What he basically has for an injury is what has essentially cost Garrett Cole this whole season. So I thought that was interesting. But then he comes out against the A's, six innings, 1-run ball, 13 strikeouts. Now, we've seen this. We've seen him do this earlier this year. He had that great outing against the Brewers, 10 strikeouts, where it really felt like he left everything out on the field. After that, for him, he gave up 4 to the Angels, 3 to the Rangers, didn't pitch particularly deep against the White Sox. So, last time out against the Guardians, Bryan, I'm sure you watched every pitch of that game. I mean, he got through 6. I didn't think he was great. Walked a couple of guys, which he doesn't typically do. I felt like the Guardians maybe let him off the hook a little bit. And so when you look at that line score, okay, 3 runs over 6 innings. Yeah, he threw the ball well. Did he, though? Did he throw, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe the Guardians let him off the hook a little bit here. So you have 2 pitchers that I think are being priced as premium options. I wouldn't be surprised if Gilbert got hit a little bit here. I'm still not convinced that he's not hurt. And if the Braves add a little bit of offense, doesn't take much to get to 7. I was hoping that would be 7 flat. At 7.5, a very slight lean. But I wanted to make a case for the Mariners, and I just can't. So, yeah, that's how I'll probably be looking at this one. Bryan, do you have a game that you want to talk about that we haven't brought up that might be your parlay leg? I'll let you go.
I want to point out Brandon's got a 5% going. I will have a 5% going today, and it's on a game we never even talked about. We're on a 13-3 run on our 4 and 5% baseball plays. Had the Yankees team total over yesterday. They scored 8 runs. Been number 2 the last 3 days, number 2 the last 7, number 1 the last 30. Let's just say I'm really good right now in baseball. I'm on a really good run, and I am going to have a 5% up, but it's going to be a couple hours till I put it up. So it's not there right now, but keep that in mind. I'm going to go back for the free play, and I'm going to go back to that afternoon game with the Cubs. I'm going to play that team total over. I talked about that a little bit earlier, so we're running short on time, so I won't get to it again. But team total over on the Cubs is 4.5 under. Oh, excuse me, wrong one. Yep, 5.5 over 1. Let's say 140. There's some 140s popping up now, so it's popular. So 5.5 over 140 for the Cubs in this early game.
I like that. I'll double down on. I think it's the day for PCA. I feel like today he breaks out. Do what you will with that. Bryan says Cubs team total over 5.5. You said minus 140
minus
for that?
140. Yes, you can get better, but we'll go with that.
TB, we still have time for another game breakdown. Do you have a game that we haven't talked about yet you want to talk about here?
Let me see. Yeah, my leg in the parlay is going to be a very boring game, so I'm not going to.
That's all right. There's no boring games. We're better. So there's no boring games.
Trust me. I'm going to take the Phillies on the money line today, and I'll tell you why. We got Phillies and Marlins here. Marlins, yes, they're a good young team, but they're just super inconsistent. And although the Phillies have been playing somewhat inconsistent ball these days, they rank 6th in hitting run production in current form. Their bullpen is playing better than Miami's right now, just by a few points, according to my rankings. And they have a top 10 pitcher on the mound today. So I think all that leads to a Phillies win here. I normally wouldn't play minus 270 as a normal play, but for a parlay leg, yeah, you can throw your tomatoes at me. That's fine.
That's okay. Bryan, I have some thoughts on this, but I'll go to you first. Phillies, Marlins, anything you're seeing here?
I can't lay that big number. I'll be passing. You can get as low as 255 out there. So let's call it a 260. You can even get, yeah, 260 is a little bit better than the 270, but nothing for me on this game.
TB, I'm going to second this. I'll co-sign on this for the parlay because I'm going to go back to what I said earlier this week when the Marlins were in that series with the Nationals. Now, I did like them on the Yuri Perez day, but my general thought for the Marlins is this is going to be a long month. I think yesterday I talked about, I feel like this is the team that maybe runs out of gas. They had their young guys up very, very early. If you guys remember, they went young really early this year, and they had success, and they had that great stretch where I think they almost made it to 500. I think they won like 8 in a row, made it back really close to 500. We're on the very fringes of the playoff picture, and now they're back to 10 games under 500. They have now lost. They've lost 3 straight. Kind of had that great effort against the Mets. They turn around, get swept by the Nationals. Kyle Stowers is hurt. Xavier Edwards is hurt. They're young. You have a lot of pitchers that are maybe creeping into inning limit territory. I think so we've talked about teams that I think you want to sort of look for spots to play on throughout the course of the month. Pirates have started. I talked about the Pirates. They come out, sweep the Dodgers. The Orioles have looked great. The Marlins is a team I think you can just fade all month. I just think that they made their push. Their best days are behind them. Now they have a couple of their stars hurt. I just don't see how the month of September is favorable to them. And so for that reason, like, Valente, but is it Beloso? Beloso is on the mound for the. Yeah, I mean, he's not a clown, but he's probably not beating the Phillies. Like, it's just, I really do think that this is going to be a long couple weeks for the Marlins. Young
This is a
team,
joke. Bozo the clown, Belozo the clown. This is just a
young
joke.
team that's run out of
He's
gas.
a little younger.
Brian got
Young-
it.
No, I got the clown reference. But yeah, young. He,
That
Mark
was
Martin says
that was a clown comment, man.
Mark Martin says he
Yeah.
does have sneaky, decent stuff, and I don't disagree with him. I really don't. Like, that's all these Marlins pitchers kind of have sneaky stuff, right? But like, how long is he going to even be in this game? 3 innings, 4 innings? Then you're going to
And
need the
his
next
sneaky-
guy.
And is sneaky decent stuff better than elite stuff? Probably not.
Well, it's not even I could even care less who's pitching for the Phillies, although it is notable. They have a notable starter on the mound here, but it's like, it's this Phillies lineup. And then let's say Bezoso has a good 3 innings. Like, then the next guy's got to have a good 3 innings. Then the next guy's got to go 2. And you're just talking about like murderer's row with the Phillies. I mean, who'd they see yesterday? So who'd they see yesterday? Peralta probably looks like a beach ball today after seeing that. So
After that.
no value, Brian. I'm with you on that, but I have a hard time like arguing with the Phillies winning here. That's I'll leave it at that. So TB's going to throw Phillies in our.
We don't need value.
TB's going to throw Phillies in the parlay. Let me go to a different. Let me throw one more game out. I'll throw one more game out that we haven't talked about yet. Maybe. I really didn't come into today's show with like a ton of like sort of firm opinions, just the way it worked out for me today. So. And I got to be honest, I don't know if I love anything that we've talked about to this point for the parlay. So actually, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with the Rays. That's what I'm going to use for the parlay. I really feel like the Jax Seymour thing is genius. I love how this team is playing. I know. And here's the thing with win streaks in September. Normally I'm worried about catching the loss. But when it's really playoff time for them, we've seen this. Go back to baseball history. There's always that one team that's like, you're like, where's this team been all year? When you get to September, notable occurrences of it. Remember the Rockies years back? I think they won like 16 straight year. Like they went like 17 of 18 to get to the playoffs. And there's more recent sort of examples of it. I'm feeling the Rays right now. I think they have pitching, they have hitting, they have great coaching, great preparation. I love Ian Seymour. I think the Jax thing is interesting, but I don't mind it. I mean, he's going to come out to set the tone in this game, probably wipe out the first 3 Guardians hitters. I prefer him at the end of the game, but that's just me. But still, that's what's probably going to happen. Then you're going to have Ian Seymour, probably 5 strong innings. Guardians did nothing against him last time. Again, it's a parlay. I don't know. I'm less worried about the juice because it's the parlay. So Brian Leonard, what am I looking at for a Rays money line right now?
You're about 137.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
again, I think they've got all the momentum. Great result yesterday for them. They're at home, small ballpark. It's September, so maybe, the Tampa fans will probably, if they have any, I think they have a few fans that are actually their fans. They'll probably show up now that it's close to playoff time. I've been to a playoff games at the. I've been to playoff games at the Trop. There was no race. There was like it was like half and half. I went to a Red Sox Rays playoff game at the Trop a couple years back. 60% Red Sox fans, but the fans the Rays do have are going to be in attendance, I think, throughout the next. Just who knows? This might be the last. They probably won't get MLB ball at Steinbrenner Field going forward. So I think it's a cool little scenario that's the case. And I'm going to go with the Rays. So let's get that. Let's get that parlay locked in. I don't have a 5% play today, so buy them from the boys today. Get TBs, get Brian Leonard's, and then when they win, come back to my page and grab my 5% NFL, which goes on Sunday. That's how I'll. I don't have anything up yet for today, but I likely will. So if you're interested, it'll be up in a little bit. Again, I just haven't made like any big time decisions on today's baseball card yet. But the parlay is plus 310. And so, we couldn't hit back to back, but we said this whole year, if we can hit 1 a week, we're going to stay afloat. And if we can get 2, we're going to be in really good shape. So we hit a nice 3-teamer earlier this week. We're going to try to close the week out to get us back nicely in the plus going into next week. So our parlay nicely. We got some daytime action. I love that. Bryan Leonard says Cubs over 5.5 on the team total. It's minus 140. Cubs over 5.5. I'm sure if you can't put a team total in the parlay, just take slightly worse odds, maybe on the Cubs to win. You're probably losing like 60 cents, but it would work. I know some people can't parlay team totals, so I try to give an alternate. Would you say that would be the best way to go, Brian?
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
All right. Cubs team total over 5.5 for Brian. Tokyo Brandon, Phillies money line. And I'm going to go with Rays money line. That 3-teamer plus 310. We have reached the finish line for the week. Another week in the books, total basis. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have time, head on over to the YouTube channel. Give us a like, a subscribe. Drop the comment. Someone got in the comments yesterday with a breakdown. I feel like we should have brought them on the show. I mean, the breakdown was so good.
Yeah.
That you're getting value in the comments as well.
Yeah. Love it.
Yes,
in regards to, I can't even remember what it was like. Rays pitching. Someone was talking Noah Cameron. Great stuff from you guys in the comments. We appreciate it. And yeah, we'll if you missed the show, always on demand on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you guys Monday morning for more Total Basis.